What's up, YouTube? So this is gonna be a short little post-fight reaction for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. I woke up this morning and not gonna lie, it kind of feels like a funeral in here. Like just very sad, very heartbroken, very devastated. Mike is one of my heroes. He still is always going to be one of my heroes. Everything he had to go through in his life to get to where he was, and you know, the downfall, the comeback, that Mike Tyson, one of my favorite people on planet Earth. And last night was horrifying. It was terrible to watch. And I'm really upset. But let's get this out of the way. Mike Tyson is okay. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get severely hurt, as far as we know. I keep looking up, like, trying to get some sort of answers as to, like, the medical results, like if he from after the fight, if he's okay. And he seemed like he was okay, though. He was okay enough to talk, you know, after the fight. And I think Mike's overall okay. So that's the most that we can really wish for, and be thankful for that. And I want to say this: I have a lot of respect for Jake Paul, because let's be honest, I could tell there by like round 2, 3 that Mike was not, he didn't have the legs, he didn't have the balance, and Jake got a good shot on him. You saw Mike get the Bambi legs, he started to wobble a bit, and I was terrified. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I really thought Jake Paul's the type of person where he was going to destroy, knockout, and possibly severely hurt Mike. And I was terrified. But Jake, realistically, anybody who's boxed, or you don't even have to be a boxer, you just see that and you know that Jake carried him through that fight. He could have knocked him out any time after like the second round. Even in the first 2 rounds, Mike didn't look all that great. He had a little bit of the head movement. His upper body was looking decent. But what we didn't see in the training footage was his legs. And when I saw his legs, I was like, oh shit, those look like 60-year-old legs. Like, his upper body was looking decent, but he gassed out within a couple rounds, and Jake could have had his way with him. Jake realistically could have knocked him out and really hurt him, and I am so thankful to Jake Paul for not doing that to Mike. Jake said in the post-fight press conference, they're like, did you take it easy on him a little bit? And he said, yeah, I kind of did. He's like, at first he was going hard, because, you know, the weigh-in and everything, it got a little personal, and he was trying to knock him out. But he realized that, you know, Mike wasn't Mike, and he said there's no reason, I think his exact words were, there was no reason to hurt a fighter who didn't need to get hurt. So Jake Paul, I have a newfound respect for you. I know a lot of the Mike Tyson fans probably hate you right now, but me, thank you, Jake, for not hurting Mike. That being said, this fight should have never happened. I boxed. I was smart enough to know that when this fight came out, that, like, the news of this fight came out, I immediately said, this is elder abuse, this is wrong. Mike is so great, I don't want to tarnish his legacy, I don't want to see him get hurt. And in my head, I knew that this was not a good fight. Like, I didn't want this fight to happen in the beginning. But somewhere along the lines, kind of like the rest of the world, I saw the training footage, I saw the interviews, I saw the promotions, and I started to believe, just like the rest of the world, that Mike Tyson was going to be at least like 30-40% of his former self. He was looking good, but we never saw his legs. And that's what I was telling everybody at work. I'm like, I'm worried about his lungs and I'm worried about his legs. And those were exactly the 2 main problems in that ring. He gassed out after like a round and a half, and his legs, there was no balance. It's like his body was moving, his legs weren't moving with his upper body. It's like he would turn and then his legs would move after him, and it was just, they looked like 60-year-old legs, I'm not gonna lie. And he gassed out real quick. I was worried about his breathing, because at the open workout, which was only like 6 minutes, he was already gassed. But in my head, I kept telling myself, I'm like, maybe he, you know, doesn't need that much time. Maybe he was just going a little hard in the open workout and he's gonna pace himself in the fight. But like, by the end of the first round, I think we all knew that this is not the Mike Tyson of old. And somehow the world convinced me, through all the promotion and everything, that we were going to see some rejuvenated version of Mike that was going to come out and shock the world. But I should have stuck with my gut instinct, which was, this is a bad fight. I don't want this fight to happen. And yeah, it was horrifying. I was terrified. I went from being so excited all day long, going to everybody at work, because you got to think, when I was a kid, like, I'm a huge boxing fan. Our hero is Muhammad Ali, and Mike Tyson's right under there. You know, like, he's one of my heroes, and I was so excited. I was going to everybody at work, like, you seen the Tyson fight? You seen the Tyson fight? Like, because I never had that chance to do that in my life, except with the Roy Jones fight, which was really an exhibition. They weren't allowed to hit each other in the head. It wasn't really a real fight. So I was just so excited to finally, like, I thought that I was going to see Mike shock the world, but that was my second reaction. My initial reaction was, I don't want this fight to happen. This is horrible. I don't want to see Mike get hurt. He has nothing to prove, and that is pretty much what happened. Long story short, like I said in the beginning of the video, we just got to be happy that Mike didn't seriously get hurt. He made it out okay. He did shock the world in terms of, he showed that he can go at least, 8 2-minute rounds, and he, there's not many good things I can say about this, but the main caveat that we need to take away is that Mike Tyson is okay, and he's going to live another day, and he's going to keep, hopefully he gets his podcast going again, and because I loved his hot boxing with Mike Tyson. He's still got his businesses, and he's got a beautiful family, and he has nothing more to prove. Now, this last thing that I want to say is, these young kids, any of you who have watched this fight who might not have known, were old enough to see Mike Tyson like me, but also didn't study footage like me and grew up admiring him, and you might not understand who Mike Tyson is, and I'm worried that these young kids are going to see this fight with Jake Paul, and they're going to evaluate that as a test of Mike's skill, and it's really not. It's really, really not. This is not what Mike Tyson was, okay? I don't want young kids to get it twisted and think that this is as good as Mike Tyson was. Mike Tyson was the most ruthless heavyweight of all times, with the most knockout power and the greatest uppercut, the greatest head movement, the peekaboo style. Like, Mike Tyson is and was an animal, and one of the greatest heavyweights of all times. Before Custom Auto died, that was probably the greatest heavyweight on planet Earth. If Cus didn't die, he probably would have went down as the greatest. And a lot of people still have him as the greatest. But I really liked seeing Mike get older, and seeing, him, happy grandpa Mike, we'd say. I don't mean that with any disrespect, but, like, eating mushrooms, smoking weed, like, giving all these philosophical takes. He was basically like a modern day philosopher, and it was beautiful. Like, Mike was living his life and just doing so well, and there was no need to fight. But obviously, as a fighter, I know, even now, I haven't been in a boxing gym in probably 7 years. And I still keep thinking about going back, and I'm only 27. It's just, I had some hardships. I ended up leaving boxing because of mental health, and then I had to finish university, so I didn't really have time. But even I want to go back. So if I know Mike, one of the greatest on the planet, he's definitely got that in him where he wants to go back. He wants to get in that ring. That fighter never dies, Hey, Rocco, stop it. Sorry, my dog's biting. He's got, dry skin. But I just don't want the young kids or people who might not have been familiar with Mike Tyson before this fight to get it twisted. Mike Tyson was one of the greatest of all times, and he's still, he's not now, but he still has that aura about him, and I don't want this to ruin his aura and people to think he's not tough now. Like, anybody who knows anything about boxing knows that this wasn't Mike Tyson. His legs were so stiff there. His balance was off. That was not the Mike Tyson of old. Not even a shiver of that. So, but to sum it all up, I'm just happy that Mike made it out okay. He didn't get hurt, seriously hurt, as far as I know. I'm gonna keep up with the medical stuff that's coming out. I'm gonna try to make sure. I want to see the results of his exam. I don't know if he had a concussion. I hope there's no brain damage, no brain bleeds. But secondly, hats off to Jake Paul. Thank you so much, Jake, for not knocking out my hero and not hurting a man who didn't need to be hurt. I think Jake I think Jake died a little bit in that ring. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you could see at the press conference, he wasn't excited. He wasn't happy. He was very monotone. He was kind of sounded the way I sound right now. You know, like disappointed and sad, because kind of reminds me of when Larry Holmes fought Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali was clearly starting to suffer from Parkinson's, and Larry Holmes was just beating him in the corner. Muhammad Ali couldn't even punch. He was like, hands were shaking. It was horrible to watch, and that's what this kind of reminded me of. It was obviously not Parkinson's, but the age. It was like Mike's body couldn't do what his brain and heart wanted to do, and it was sad to watch. It was terrifying. It was horrifying. I couldn't wait for the fight to be over, honestly. So hats off to Jake for literally carrying Mike through and giving him the dignity and respect that he deserves as one of the greatest heavyweights of all times. This is what we saw last night. That punch scared me. You see his legs buckle a little bit. Look at his legs here. Look at his legs. His legs aren't following what his body is doing. And this is when he was still looking somewhat decent. Look towards the end of the fight. This is what I mean by respect. Did you see that? It was the end of the fight. Jake could have knocked him out as early as like the second round when he landed that big shot. Jake carried him through, and this is the part where I really gained respect for Jake Paul. He bows at him and basically lets him know, like, I don't want to knock you out. Mike is gassed. Mike's balance is off. His reflexes are off. His defense is off. Jake could have had his way with him right here or anywhere in the fight, anywhere past the second round. I believe Jake could have easily knocked out Mike, and he didn't. So all the shit I talked about Jake Paul, I'm done. Jake Paul, I respect you as a fighter, and more so, I respect you as a man now. Thank you for not hurting our Mike Tyson. But what I really want you to see, I want us to watch highlights. I want to remind the world, or anybody watching this video, I just want you guys, I just want to kind of celebrate and just watch a few clips of Mike Tyson, because in his prime, when he was the greatest of all times, and just remember and reminisce that Mike is okay, and I just want people to see this and understand this is Mike Tyson. This is what I thought I was going to get a glimpse of last night, but obviously Father Time is undefeated. Yeah, you see the way his legs are moving there? A lot better. He's a lot quicker. A lot faster. It's just Mike didn't have that athleticism and them reflexes last night, but
If I hit him in the body once and I see that hurt, I'm hitting him in the body.
I want to see like an edit. Mike Tyson mix. I don't want the music though. So today is a really sad day in my apartment. I feel like Brittany's genuinely worried about me. It's just tough, man. Because I love Mike so much. I don't want these kids to get it twisted, you know? I don't want them to get it twisted. This was Mike Tyson, okay? This was Mike Tyson. Jake Paul wouldn't have lasted a second with this Mike Tyson. Do you understand? Oh, am I crying, man? I'm actually crying. Like, fuck, dude. I should be happy, right? Because we got this legend. I got footage of this for life. And he made it out last night okay. And I really hope he never boxes again. This was Mike Tyson. So I don't want people to get it twisted, all right? I don't want people to see last night's fight and evaluate his whole career off of a performance he did when he was 58 years old against a 27-year-old. And I think we got to give Jake his flowers. Jake not only is a skilled boxer, and I'm excited to see his pro career continue and as he fights bigger, better competition, but don't get it twisted. Jake wouldn't have lasted 5 seconds in the ring with Mike in his prime. And I'm going to try to cheer up. I'm going to try to, I got some beers left over from last night, and I might get some food or something and just try to take it easy today. I've really got to, snap out of this, and, I shouldn't be sad. I should just be happy that Mike's okay. I'm just sad that it was just hard to watch. It was really scary and hard to watch, but I have so much respect for Jake as a fighter, and more so as a man now, for not hurting Mike and realizing early that this wasn't Mike. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna go try to cheer up. I might play some games later, and I'll be good. I just gotta gotta get back on the grind and back in the swing of things. And yeah, Mike Tyson, I love you. I don't want to see you fight anymore, please. That proved to the world right there that Father Time truly is undefeated. And but I don't want this to take anything from Mike's legacy and Mike's greatness. There's just the fact that he came out there and lasted 8 rounds, and he tried. He took a swing at greatness. He missed, but he's tried. That shows the heart of the champion, the heart of a lion. That really shows who Mike is. Mike's got the biggest pair of balls on the planet for stepping in that ring at 58, and I don't want this to take anything away from his legacy. I love you, Mike. I looked up to you when I was in boxing. I tried to mimic your style and realized quick that no one's doing your style except you, and I love you, Mike. And Jake, I've been watching your boxing career so far, and I've been somewhat impressed at times, but I was the most impressed last night, not based off your skill, based off your heart. So thank you, Jake. Because let's be honest, you could have had your way with Mike after the second round, and you decided to let him go out with dignity and respect that he deserves as a champion. That's pretty much it, man. This has been my fight reaction. We got many good fights to come. Obviously, I just started my boxing podcast, boxing series. This will be episode 2 probably. And we got more fights to come. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. That's going to be a really good one in December. And tonight, actually, UFC. I also like to watch a bit of UFC. Not as much as boxing, but John Jones versus Stipe. Stipe's getting a little up there. I'd rather have seen him against Aspinall, but that'll be a good fight. And, I'm going to try to cheer up. I'm going to try to, maybe drink a beer and maybe play some games. And everything's going to be fine. But let's not get it twisted. Mike Tyson was one of the greatest of all times. This is not the Mike we saw last night. Yeah, see his legs? Mike wasn't able to cut off the ring last night. He just couldn't move. Like he couldn't jump like a cobra. Like that footwork, he was just so slow on his feet, and his hands couldn't reach Jake's face. And yeah. But thank you, Jake, for being a man with a big heart. And Mike, enjoy your life now. There's no reason to fight. Please, just, we love you, and we don't want to see you get hurt. And you have nothing left to prove, Mike. Thanks to anyone who's watched this or my other video, and more boxing content to come. As I said, I used to box a little bit, and I'm a huge fan of the sport. I have been my whole life, and I've got a lot of knowledge I want to share, and I want to talk boxing again with people. So for now, I will see you guys. I'll probably be gaming at some point today, but my next episode of my boxing podcast, I got to figure out what topic we're gonna do. I was thinking about Gervonta Davis's next fight, and also I want to talk a bit about Fury versus Usyk coming up, because that's, I think, the fight I'm looking forward to the most for this year, for the rest of this year. And yeah, we're gonna keep grinding out that boxing content. And I know a lot of you are probably feeling like me, guys. Eventually, it's going to be a sad couple days probably, but eventually we're going to realize that at the end of the day, Mike didn't get hurt, and that's all we can ask for.